it's Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my personal opinions on the Puma evoSPEED 1.4. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with this series, this is where it's less about the tech specs and more about my straight up, honest, personal opinions on a pair of shoes. In this case, of course, it is the Puma evoSPEED 1.4. Now, you guys really seem to enjoy this series, and if you do want to continue seeing it happen on the channel, be sure to leave your suggestions down below in the comment section for which shoe you'd like to see featured next. Whichever one gets the most amount of comments is a shoe that will be featured in the next personal opinions video. Now, Puma evoSPEED 1.4, what do I really think about this shoe? First off, I want to explain that this is not the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, which is the super light version of the shoe that's only projected to last about 10 games. This is a completely different shoe altogether in every single way. This will last more than 10 games, and in fact, it's pretty durable as far as lightweight shoes go. This shoe, unlike the evoSPEED 1.4 SL, retails for $190, and considering it's not going to be the most popular model, these things are going to go on sale very quickly. In fact, you can already get the launch color, which is what I have right here, on sale for about $140, a little bit less if you use some coupon codes. So as far as bang for your buck goes, this is going to be one of the best values for a thin synthetic lightweight top-end model shoe. Now, what does the evoSPEED 1.4 do so well? It's just a good all-around shoe. Everything about this shoe I really like, actually, and it's not normally the type of shoe that I'm a big fan of. The evoSPEED line in general, the regular models have been really underwhelming, I guess, the last couple models. The evoSPEED, the original evoSPEED 1 that was first introduced was a cool concept. It was completely different than anything Puma had really done before, but the quality of synthetic was really never there, and the stud pattern they implemented wasn't the greatest either for that style of shoe. The evoSPEED 1.2 that came next features a synthetic upper that I would argue was even worse than the original evoSPEED 1. And then the evoSPEED 1.3 improved upon the 1.2 a little bit, but again, the synthetic just was not up to par with other top-end models within the same price range. With the evoSPEED 1.4, they've finally got things right. It's a microfiber synthetic material that, granted, is not as thin as what you're going to find from something like the Nike Mercurial Vapor 10. I would argue that it's even a little bit thicker than what you're going to find from the Hypervenom line from Nike, a lot thicker than what you're going to find from the X15.1 as well. But what it does offer is a very soft sensation to it. I would argue that this is the most natural feeling thin synthetic shoe, or one of them, currently available. There's no break-in time with this shoe. You put them on your feet, they feel really comfortable, it's flexible, it moves naturally with your foot, and they just feel soft, which is a really uncommon characteristic for thin synthetics. Normally they can feel kind of plasticky against your foot. You don't get that sensation here at all. They've incorporated somewhat of a kind of 3D texturing on the surface that adds some thickness to certain parts of the upper that gives it just a very slight amount of padding, takes the edge off of what would otherwise be a completely unpadded shoe, which I really like the feel of. It's a very positive sensation when making contact with the ball. Very thin, but not too thin, if that makes any sense. And then they've incorporated their grip text texturing, which again, historically has not been overly significant, but in dry weather playing conditions at least, you do get that little bit of extra grip on the ball that you wouldn't otherwise get. It's not sticky, it's just enough to where you notice it, and again, it's a very nice feeling that you get from the evoSPEED 1.4. So very, very comfortable shoe. Out of all the thin synthetics, for me, I find myself being most comfortable in this particular shoe, especially from right out of the box. It's got a not particularly low cut in the heel, which is kind of uncharacteristic for this style of shoe. So very solid sensation and fit in the heel area. It comes up a little bit higher at the back, comes up a little bit higher at the sides, which again, that's more of a preference thing, but I just like the solid sensation that you get from this particular shoe. It has an external heel counter, unlike pretty much everything else in this particular category. The insole's great. And then moving on to the sole plate. The sole plate is not the greatest. It's a very thin plastic material, which is nice when it comes to flexibility, but if you are on slightly harder ground, stud pressure can be a minor issue, but if you're playing on nicer fields, you shouldn't have too many problems. And the stud pattern, all conical studs, it doesn't look like much, but because they're fairly long and have a fairly small profile to them, they dig into the ground really well and provide really good bite. This is unchanged from previous evoSPEED models. Previous evoSPEED models performed really well in terms of traction. These are no different. So in terms of just traction and providing that nice kind of bite when you're pushing off, making those multi-directional cuts and turns. This does that just as good as pretty much any shoe out there at the moment when you're on firm natural grass. In terms of weight, they're not the lightest. Obviously, they're not nearly as light as the 1.4 SL model, but of course, these are a lot more durable, and I would argue a lot more comfortable as well. They're right at the 7.5 ounce range or so in a size 9.5 US, which is relatively lightweight. They feel light on your feet is kind of what I'm getting at. They're not going to blow you away or anything like that, but very light and kind of what you would want from this style of shoe. And again, just a combination of comfort, great feel for the ball, and really good traction in general just makes this a very, very attractive option. For the full $190, it's cheaper than pretty much anything else in this category at full retail price. And even at full retail price, I would still say it's a very good buy, but especially if you're on the market for a thin synthetic shoe in the lightweight category, if you can catch these things on sale in an older colorway at $140, $130, maybe even $120, it's an absolute steal. This is a very, very good shoe. Don't look at previous evoSPEED models as kind of a benchmark for what this shoe has to offer, because like I said, this is better than all previous evoSPEED models. This is a shoe that really, really surprised me, and honestly, if I were picking a lightweight, thin synthetic shoe to wear right now, it probably would be this guy right here. I really do like them that much. So that's pretty much it in terms of what my personal opinions are on the Puma evoSPEED 1.4. Very underrated shoe, one that's been heavily overlooked because of the 1.4 SL. But again, if you're looking for something in this particular category that's just really, really good, especially for the price, this is one that I can very strongly recommend. So let me know your opinions on the evoSPEED 1.4 down below in the comment section of this video. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why or why not? If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments as well. I definitely will get an answer out to you. And again, be sure to leave your suggestions on which shoe you'd like to see featured next in the personal opinion series. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.